Hi there, this is Mr. Miller, and I have with me
Miss Les. Hello.
Yeah, hope you're doing well. We're off to a great start this year. Today we're doing video number 18. We're going to talk about word problems that involve writing expressions for fractions and proportions.
All right, so let's get to example number 1.
You got it.
Okay, fractional expression. So we have some club, sports club in downtown that has some fans. We have some Cubs fans, Sox fans, and Brewers fans.
Ooh.
And we want to write some expressions.
Okay.
So for part A, I want the fraction of fans who are Cubs fans. Okay. So for my numerator, I'm interested in the Cubs. So let's represent Cubs with C. So I have C. And in the denominator, I want the total number of the fans. So they come from Cubs and Sox and Brewers. So I will put C plus S plus B. For part B, I want the fraction of fans who are Sox fans. So now I'm interested in the Sox fans. So I will put S in the numerator. And in the denominator, again, I want the total number of the fans, which comes from the Cubs plus the Sox plus the Brewers. Let's extend that. And for part C, I want the fraction of people who are not the Brewers fans. So if they're not the Brewers fans, they're the Cubs fans and the Sox fans. So I want Cubs plus Sox, which are not the Brewers, again over the total, which is C plus S plus B.
Very good. So I think it just takes a little getting used to. At first with a lot of variables, it's like, oh, all these variables, no numbers. Then you realize in the bottom we're putting the total, and the top we're putting the part we're interested in, and not so bad at all. So you'll get the hang of this quickly. All right, here's another example. So on this one, it says during a school assembly, the auditorium was filled with S students and T teachers. They look excited down there in that picture, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
It says, write expressions for the following, the fraction of people who are students. So, remember in the bottom, I'm going to do the bottom first. It doesn't matter which one you do first, but the total goes in the bottom. So we have S students and T teachers. We have these two groups. So the total is S plus T. And the part we're interested in are the students. So that goes on top. So it's the number of students over the total. Okay. Fraction of people who are teachers. Almost the same thing, except we're going to put T up there this time, and in the bottom, S plus T.
Excellent.
All right, it's time for a different type of problem. Okay, so let's see what we have here. It's time for proportions. And Ms. Les, we got to start on this first one already. You want to read the first one for us?
Okay, sure. So let's do some proportions. So suppose you have 32 ounces of coffee that cost $14.50.
Well worth it.
How much would 40 ounces cost? Okay, so in this problem, I have two quantities. I'm going to set up my proportion using the ounces and the cost. So the first word stands for the ounces.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so OZ, that should be OZ, represents the ounces. So I have 32 ounces, and the 32 ounces cost $14.50 equals, let's set up the second part of the proportion. So make sure you're consistent. If I put ounces on the top, I'm going to continue with ounces on the top. So it asks me, how much would 40 ounces cost? So I have 40 ounces on the top, and the cost is unknown, so I will represent it with X. Okay?
Can I stop 1 second?
Absolutely.
So just to follow up, what Ms. Les just did, there's always a fact given, right? You gotta look for the fact, and you form a fraction out of that fact. 32 ounces goes with 1450. So in these sort of problems, look for the fact and set that up. And then you gotta set up the other side. There's part you know and one you don't know. Just gotta make sure they go in the right place.
Sure, so it might be a good idea to underline the given information. So you could go ahead and underline the 32 ounces, 1450, and then I still have the 40 ounces, and the question is how much or about cost. So to solve the proportion, we'll cross multiply. So I'll multiply 32 times X equals...
That would be 580. I'll be
okay, 40. Okay, so let's show where it comes from. So 40 times 1450. Okay, so I have 32x is equal to, how much was it?
That was 580.
580. Okay, divide by 32. divide by 32. So x is equal to
18.125. So since this is money, we're going to round it to 18.13.
Okay, so $18.13.
Okay, very good. So these proportion problems occur in a lot of ways. They involve like a rate. Like the next one, Robert bikes 12 miles in 50 minutes. So there's the fact.
So we have miles. Let's set it up. I have miles and minutes. Okay, so first piece of information, 12 miles in 50 minutes equals, at this rate, how far will he travel in 60 minutes? So I have the minutes given, and the question is how far, or about distance. So again, if I cross multiply, x times 50, or 50x, is equal to 12 times 60. So we have 50, x is equal to
720.
Divide by 50, divide by 50. So we end up with x is equal to 720 over 50 will give us
14.4, and we were finding miles. Actually, this lesson is very relevant. I want to go for a bike ride after school. 14 miles about right for me. I don't know if I could do it in an hour though,
okay.
In 60 minutes. That's pretty good. All right, next problem. We got two more examples, and then it's going to get a little crazier. All right, so on this one, it says Maria likes to babysit, and she gets paid $30 for babysitting 4 hours. Okay, so at this rate, how much will she make if she babysits for 7 hours? So I'm going to follow Ms. Les' example because this is really good. She wrote down the units so we can keep this straight. So I'm going to put dollars on top and hours in the bottom. It didn't matter if we put hours on top and dollars on the bottom, we just have to be consistent. So she gets paid $30 and for 4 hours, and we want to know how much she'll get paid for 7. Now these fractions have to be equivalent. The reason why is if she worked like twice as much time, she would get paid twice as much, and when you divide them, the fraction is the same. Okay, so that's why these have to be equivalent. So, like Ms. Les did, we're going to do 4 times x has to equal 7 times 30.
210.
Thank you. That's in order for two fractions to be equal, this cross product has to be equal. Then divide by 4.
We end up with 52.5.
And I forgot already what I was talking about, so that's why this is helpful here. We were looking for
how much will she make?
Yeah.
Yes.
52
so
bucks.
Money.
And my kids would be very happy with 52 bucks. How about yours, Mr.?
Oh yeah, not bad.
Yeah, they're looking for that kind of work. All right, here's another way. One. Toyota Corolla, which happens to be the car I drive, gets 32 miles per gallon on the highway. How far can it travel on 2.5 gallons of gas? So I'm going to put miles per gallon on top. Oh, Ms. Les, this is a little bit trickier. Miles on top. I had to think about this.
And gallons.
And gallons. Miles per gallon is like a ratio already.
Absolutely. So we have 32 miles per 1 gallon. That's what it says.
That's very practical. If you're starting to drive and you know you have about 1 gallon in the tank, this is very useful information. So this 32 miles per gallon, that's what that means. 32 miles goes with 1 gallon. And we want to know how far we can get on 2.5 gallons. So that'd be about 10 bucks, wouldn't it? And the prices today. So we'll see how far we can go. All right. So we get 1 times x equals 32 times 2.5?
Yes.
Which is 80. And guess what? We're done. So we can get 80 miles because it's just 1x equals 80. So on 2.5 gallons, we can expect to go 80 miles. All right, we're almost done. We got 2 quick examples. And these are a little bit more challenging because there are more variables in them. It's kind of the same thing, Mrs. Les. So we got to kind of keep straight what we were doing before.
Yeah, so as long as you set up your proportion, if you know what we are talking about. So in this case, we have C cookies cost $D. So my two quantities now are cookies. So let's write it down. And the dollars, or cost. Okay, so I have C cookies, cost $D. Okay, so if I'm consistent, the question is, how much would 50 cookies cost? So my cookies go in the numerator, 50 cookies, and the question is about the cost, how much money, so that's my X. So now keep in mind, you're still solving for the X. I want to get the X by itself. That's the variable I'm looking for.
This is going to seem a little weird.
Yes, because we have three variables here, and I know you're not used to working with that. But if you follow the examples that we did previously, again, I'm going to cross multiply. C times X is equal to 50 times D. And in order to get the X by itself, I'm going to divide by C, divide by C. So I end up with X is equal to 50D over C. So that's my equation to find out what is X.
That's it?
That's it.
That's the answer?
That's the answer.
That does not, that seems, like I said, that seems weird.
Yeah, it looks different,
but
this is what we were looking for.
Okay, so if we told you what D and C were, you can just put it in there and solve for X. All right, so here's another one. Actually, it was less work. We didn't even need a calculator. So once you get the hang of it, it's even easier than the other ones. So Nancy can run a distance of Y yards in N minutes. So I'm going to set up the proportion, Y yards over N minutes. How far can she run in 20 minutes? Well, 20 is going to go on the bottom. And what we're looking for, I'm going to represent with X. So here we go, cross multiply. M times X has to equal 20 times Y. And it's just a matter of keeping straight what we're solving for. Remember, we're solving for X. All right, so we don't want M times X, so we're going to divide both sides by M. Just like if there were any other number, like a 2 or a 3. And we get X equals 20Y over N. And that's
done.
it. All right, and they're almost done too. Ms. Les, you know what time it is?
That's journal time.
Yeah, good luck with it. So remember, record video number 18 in your journal book. And I think we have one of each type of problem. A fraction expression, a proportion problem, and one of those kind of weird ones from the end. All right.
You can do it.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.